Hi, thanks for stopping by. It's time for your Leo September 2020 tarot reading and forecast. I'm Nigel Saint James. It's great to see you. Great to see the subscribers back again. Of course, I've done a number of readings for you, haven't I, over the last month? And if you would like to have a personal one-on-one reading with me, psychic reading, clairvoyant, then just check out the information which is in the description box below and you can see how easy it is for that to happen. Well, the developer of this deck has provided a Leo card, and you can have a look at that when we get into them in just a second. It's an independent deck, which is just beautiful, which is not going to be reprinted. So it's out of print and never will be. So it's an historical deck in that respect because there is a great demand for it. Apparently it obtains, so I'm told, enormous prices on the used card market. There's Judgment, and but I would never part with it because for some reason it has a tone. There's the Five of Wands, a tone which just resonates with me. It seems to be on the same vibration as my soul, and so I'm able to really hone in and pick up the spiritual messages which are coming through. Now there's Justice for you. Itself a rather startlingly beautiful card. There's the Devil. What a great Devil card. You're going to love this. That's in the center there. Now let's see the final card for you, shall we? And then we'll do the reading. And this final card is the Seven of Wands. Most interesting. Well, why don't you come and sit down here next to me, have a good close look at these cards while I do the reading for you. I said I'd show you this Leo card first that the artist has provided for the deck. Now, technically it's not forming part of the tarot reading, although I must say that I am getting some energy up from it. It is, of course, the card of Leo, and I think what it is saying to you is that you must at this time rule the stage, the performance and creativity. Now you are ruled by the sun and you think the universe revolves around you, and it does, but probably just the solar system if we want to keep it toned down. Now, you need an audience during this time in order that the audience can hear your loud roar. Now, Leo also rules the heart in physical and metaphorical ways. In astrology, Leo rules true love, which is different from marriage, which is ruled by Libra. This card then, I think, is telling you to be playful and wants you to attract attention. It's up to you whether you do that by creating a masterpiece or whether it's just by hitching your skirt up a little bit higher. Well, there is the Leo card, I think. Now, I'll put it over here because we've done our time with it. I want to look at this first card here, the card of Judgment. Unusual Judgment card, I think. Let's have a look. Judgment. Well, this is the spirit of the primal fire, and I think the planet that applies to it is that of Pluto. I think there is a decision which has a major impact on your life coming up, perhaps a lifestyle change or maybe a job change, but these are positive. There may well be life-changing experiences in some way coming about. It's time to move on after seeing the bigger picture and take time out to see that bigger picture. Yes, now traditionally, of course, this card is virtually always called Judgment, and the image often depicted as the last judgment of the Christian tradition, but not here. Not here. I think what this is referring to for me is a returning to original blessing. And I see this less as a process of exclusion than of redemptive inclusion, rather than push away and reject that which is off the mark. Your lesson, I think, is to lovingly embrace it. Now in Hamlet, Shakespeare said in Act 2, Scene 2, "For there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so." So to lovingly embrace it, to do this, you have to transcend judgment in the way that you usually know it. You have to stop saying, "This is right and this is wrong." The mind sees what is wrong with someone, doesn't it? It's very easy to do that. But the heart, while looking through the eye of love, sees what is right. It sees the other's basic goodness and how their cruel, distorted, or unskillful behaviors are simply a product of their conditioning. And if you can put yourself in others' shoes and really understand what they've been through, what influences have squeezed and hardened them, you will be much more accepting. You will see how far they've come rather than how far they fall short of the standards in your minds. Now, one way to cultivate compassion, I think, is to develop your capacity to see other people more clearly. Another powerful way is to see your own mind more clearly. If you watch carefully, you'll notice how judgments arise from defensiveness, disappointment, and from seeing only the surface of the situation and not the whole picture. Yeah. I think it's time to let go of your resentments and competitive feelings and realize that we're all in this together. Just as you can drop separation and experience others' suffering, you can also experience others' joy. Their happiness can be your happiness too. Another way to develop compassion is to work on really loving yourself. Learn to embrace your hurts and be gentle with your tender feelings. It means honoring your needs and uniqueness and becoming intimate with the preciousness hidden inside of you. This comes as you open your heart to yourself. Now, you may have to work through several barriers to accomplish this. Some people go and see a psychotherapist. Some people go and seek a spiritual teacher to help them. But in any event, opening your heart is a process whose benefits accrue not only to you, but to everyone you meet. When you fill up with love, it flows out to other people as well. This is very different from chiding yourself for being judgmental and push yourself to be nicer. What I'm proposing is not an act of your will, but a natural outpouring of the heart. The heart is inherently loving, and as this love grows, it embraces more of you. You can love the places that are unloving, just as you can feel compassion for those parts that appear cold-hearted and lacking in compassion, rather than judge yourself for being judgmental. Recognize the insecurity and need this comes from, and forgive yourself. We are all judgmental at times. Our culture trains us, hypnotizes us to evaluate and compare. Yet in spiritual work, the point is not to see who is better or worse. The point is simply to see where you are off the mark, where you are not whole, and how you can move back to the state of innocence and wholeness that is your underlying nature. Now this takes us to the other major arcana. Your three major arcana here by themselves. Let's have a look at this one, which is justice. Did I call that judgment before or justice? I can't remember. Well, gee, this is a rather minimalist picture, isn't it? Justice, well, the daughter of the Lords of Truth, the ruler of the balance. This is Venus ruling Libra with Saturn exalted. Now Libra emphasizes that the energy of this card is all about balance and equilibrium. There is a karmic cause and effect at work here. The thoughts that come to mind are justice, balance, adjustment, adjusting yourself, the suspension of action pending a decision, and objectivity, standing back. And sometimes I think around here also there could well be lawsuits, contracts, and things to do with that. It's about centering, equilibrium, and the balancing of opposites, which is not too dissimilar to what we were talking about before. Now, this card has also been called by several names, such as adjustment, balance sometimes, and of course justice, and all of these have a related meaning. It is about universal law working to bring things back into harmony and balance. On the societal level, this may take the form of redress for past injury, but on the soul level, this is what we often refer to as the law of karma. It is justice, not in a precise tit-for-tat way, but in a way much larger that often only the spiritual eye can see. Now, whenever you become seriously out of balance, some rectifying force is called in. The body, nature, society, the psyche, they all have their ways of trying to restore balance. Many of the symptoms that manifest in your body, for example, are an attempt to balance a system that has been severely stressed. Just as the body must sometimes go to great lengths to restore balance, so must Earth, the psyche, and every living system. And it requires a quality of energy for you to invest as part of this karma that is coming your way. But whatever quality of energy you invest in an action, it eventually comes back to you. This is karma. Generosity, love, fear, constriction, greed, it all comes back. This is one way to look at karma. Karma is simply a natural law. You reap what you sow. I'm sure you will have heard that. And looked at this way, karma is not so much punishing as it is coaching and educational. Life mirrors back to you what you are creating so that you can make course corrections. You need these corrections when you are not seeing the impact of your choices. And this applies to everybody, of course. You must see that you have that which you have set into motion. When your awareness is refined enough to be aware of this in the moment, the learning can proceed without so many mistakes. Now, I think because this card is here and in the position that it's in, there is something being worked out and coming back into balance. If this process is unpleasant, it helps you understand why things need to happen this way and how they are the inevitable consequence of the situation. Rather than resist what's happening, try to see what you are learning from it. Step back as if looking at yourself in a film, in a movie. This is a good time to examine your life and see what is coming back to you. You can look at what your energy field is supporting and what you want it to support. This is also a good time to cultivate awareness on a broader systems level and look at how your actions do or do not support the larger harmony. But ultimately, the fruits of right living are found in your consciousness and your life. Living in balance leads to more peace, more flow, more joy. Things unfold with less effort and more grace, and your life just gets better and better. I might leave this devil to the last. I'll look at the 5 of Wands, and then I'll look at the 7, and then the devil. Gee, this is an unusual 5 of Wands, isn't it? Well, this is, of course, Saturn ruling the first decan of Leo, the 23rd of July to the 2nd of August. Now, Saturn and Leo, as you probably have found out in the course of your life, just don't get on. And that is because Leo, you want to be creative and express yourself, while Saturn is cold, dense, and wants to set boundaries and limits. Now, Leo is a fire sign, and in Wands it is a fire suit, and with the number 5 here I have a mystical association with the planet of Mars, and so that's the fiery planet of Mars. So we have fire in the 5, fire in Wands, fire in Leo, and then Saturn coming along and trying to dampen down all of this fire energy. So the astrological energies are in discord. It's very likely that you might find yourself in competition with someone who has exactly the same sort of attributes that you do, or the same sort of looks or attractiveness as you do, you know. So just be aware of that. There is a degree of tension around. Now, conflict is not necessarily a bad thing, because it can lead to you improving yourself, you're stepping your game up. And I'd be thinking to myself, I am more and more capable now of expressing my feelings and my creativity in my work. And you should go step by step, taking everything a little easier. And ask yourself, what insurmountable obstacles seem to stand between you and the realization of your goals? How does the mountain of duties and tasks which stands before you look just at the moment? Now, the 5 also has a reference, I think, to the 5th chakra, and that is the throat center, and relates to unobstructed expression. Now, although this can be generalized to any kind of self-expression or creativity, the more specific focus is expression through voice, whether that is singing, public speaking, performing, or just speaking your truth. Now, all the 5s, I've got to say, in tarot entail some sort of struggle. And the 5 of Wands, I think, is the struggle to overcome obstacles and express yourself your feelings freely. You know, sometimes the obstacles are external, when, for example, your creative work doesn't find an audience, or someone criticizes you for what you say. At other times, the restrictive influences have been internalized. If you haven't received support for expressing yourself, or you've had experiences where others have judged you, or condemned you, or simply ignored what you've created, well, then it will be more difficult to give yourself permission to express freely. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because even anticipating judgment from others can lead to a sort of self-censorship. I think keeping the energy moving is what this card is all about. Sometimes your expressions will meet with resistance or negativity, and the challenge is not to cut yourself off in response. Cutting off your expression backs up your energy and can lead to stagnation, and sometimes even to depression. Depression comes with literally suppressing your natural energy flow. The antidote is to keep the energy flowing, regardless of minor impediments. Now, I think now you must find new avenues of expression when those that you are using are blocked. One secret to keeping the energy flowing is to stop editing yourself and let go of concern about what comes out. If you think that everything you say or create must be beautiful, must be elegant, or must be refined, that your every effort must win the highest honor, this will stop your natural flow. Let yourself be playful, like a cat, like a small lion cub. The openness of play allows for invention and newness in a way that high expectations do not. So it is an important time for you to keep your expression flowing. You may have had some recent setbacks, I think, but don't let that discourage you, because we all have obstacles to overcome. Remember, the energy will keep turning and flowing on its own if you can give it room to do so. Whatever mechanism you use, feel how the energy wants to express itself and find a way to support that. It is important at this time for you to keep that creative energy flowing. And now we come to the card which is in this position, Mars in Leo. Again in Leo. This time in the third decan of Leo, the 13th of August to the 22nd of August. Now, the energy of the suit of wands is weakened this far down, away from the ace. And the number 7 here, I have a mystical association with the planet, the feminine planet of Venus. And so what I really have is that with Mars in Leo here, and the feminine energy of the 7, we don't have any harmony because Mars and Venus really aren't getting together. That feminine energy of Venus doesn't sit well with Mars, and you might think that it is only your Mars energy which is keeping you going at the moment in relation to something. You might feel that there is something coming up which makes you think that you are standing on a sinking ship, or that you are fighting a losing battle. But don't be afraid of that, because you do have the wherewithal to deal with these things. You might also find that you probably feel that you haven't been dealt to the best hand. But being true to yourself includes standing up for your own truth even in the face of immense resistance. Trust your power. In this present situation, you have to assert yourself at all costs and be ready to accept the consequences, and become aware of whatever fears have prevented you until now from asserting yourself. And say to yourself, I express my own reality openly and honestly. I'm also looking again at this 7, and I'm reminded of the 7th chakra, or the crown chakra, which is where you open up into the spirit world. There are many dimensions to the spirit world. One of the more easily accessible is the Devic, or angelic kingdom. Deva is an ancient Sanskrit word meaning shining one. Now in English we might call this an angel, I suppose. Devas are 5th dimensional beings who can choose to manifest in a form recognizable to us humans. Now often that form has wings, or a radiating light issuing from the heart that we perceive as wings. Now you may have heard of angels helping people in need. The helpful stranger who suddenly appears at the side of the road and then mysteriously disappears after performing some necessary function is sometimes later recognized as an angel. Angels have been credited with preventing many accidental and premature deaths, and with pulling strings behind the scenes to make things happen. Now, I know that they won't interfere with your soul's growth by removing obstacles that you need to overcome, but they are otherwise eager helpers when you request their assistance. And recognizing this behind-the-scenes support can help you embrace life, because you know that you are guided and protected, and that the hardships that come to you are there to strengthen you. Probably nothing is more effective in eliciting the angels' help than simply asking for it. The angels are there, waiting to be of service. But in that other dimension, of course, they are really what I call centers of consciousness. Now let's have a look at this other major arcana to finalize, shall we? And this is the Devil. Wow, what a interesting Devil card. This is, hello Devil, major arcana number 15. Well, the Lord of the Gates of Matter. This is Saturn ruling Capricorn with Mars exalted. But Mars in this case showing itself in its best form, which is the material, fiery energy of creation. I think this card can also represent a sort of a tunnel vision, because the vision of the Devil is usually directed at some material goal, and here it can relate to your career, your ambition, and looking after your own best interests. And I think that this energy here implies that you can really accomplish basically as much as you want if you are focused, because the Devil isn't distracted by other things. He's very focused on the task at hand. Now, astrologically, Capricorn is the sign of business, career and worldly success and social standing. And Capricorns are usually hard-working and high achievers, aren't they? It could be that you have a blind impulse to undertake something. You'll have great endurance also during this period, I think. Do check for any addictions, I suppose I'd say, that could be preventing you from accomplishing any of your goals, and that could be things as much as eating, as much as it is drugs or anything like this. I think it's also saying that, look, you need to accept that you have an ambitious side, but see it for what it is without becoming a slave to it. You will have a strong desire to compete. Oh, this is what we had here as well, wasn't it? Strong desire for you to compete, I think, and to improve and to win. But keep a balance between the material side of life and the emotional and spiritual side of your life. Now, it can also refer here to being very sexually attracted to someone, or for the desire for the relationship, for a relationship. And that sexual desire may be acted upon with that other person, or it may just be something which you act upon in your own mind. Do you have some wish or desire that you don't admit to? Say to yourself this: I'm a vital, joyful, and grounded person. I enjoy my sexuality. Whether my problems are real or imagined, I handle them realistically and with good humor. Well, what a really interesting spread of cards for you. Well done, Leo. Good job. That's the way it is for you this month. Well, there you go. September 2020, another month and a step closer to the end of the calendar year. Let's all keep our spirits up, shall we, during this time. I think there's some aggravation yet to happen, but you are going to be fine according to that reading, and that's the most important thing. And in any event, I want you until next month to remember one thing always, and it is this: that you are a legend, and I look forward to seeing you again next month. Until then, it's bye for now.